Ben, you have the floor.
Oh, okay. So I have a small presentation, but some interesting things are happening with the Jewel Thief, Lightning Thief device, and I'd like to share it with you guys because I have some theories, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. So let me bring this up. All right, there we go. So that is the Lightning Thief. It is a modified ABHA excitation circuit, which is basically just a modified Jewel Thief. And we have it hooked up to the ABHA coil. And right now, I have some interesting readings. So before, I was using a 40-watt LED panel as the load. And now I've been able to accumulate some different sizes of bulbs. So I have a 0.6 watt that I've been testing along with the 40 watt to kind of try to tune the load a little bit more. And something interesting happens when I hook up the 0.6 watt LED load alone. And that is that the light bulb itself starts to hum. And I've never had this happen before. The 40-watt panel doesn't hum. When I hook it up, if anything, the Jewel Thief circuit will hum. But I've never heard the actual component that's lighting, the being lit actually hum. So that's interesting. That's new. And I had some readings while hooking up both the 40-watt panel and the 0.6 watt load. And that specifically is when I was reading the current with my amp clamp on the battery output, I got significantly higher current. And then the output of the coil was higher as well, and indicated it was slightly higher than the battery output. But that's not unusual. It always measures that way. If the battery is outputting about 60 milliamps, you'll get about 64 to 68 on the coil output. So that's not really unusual. It's just you can notice that by adjusting the load, it tunes it. So regarding the negative voltage spikes that I'm getting when I'm hooking up my oscilloscope to the positive terminal, so I just have one probe and the other one floating, hooked up to the positive terminal of the battery when this thing's running. And I get these negative voltage spikes. And I'll show you guys that after the presentation, after I'm done talking, because I want you guys to understand before I go out there and show you on the camera, the mobile camera. So if you're observing negative voltage spikes at the positive terminal of your battery in a Jewel Thief circuit, it may indicate that the circuit is effectively utilizing back EMF or back electromotive force for recovering energy, not just amplification. And here's a little bit why that could be. So what is back EMF? Well, a Jewel Thief uses the collapsing magnetic field in the inductor, or in this case the ABHA coil, to generate high voltage spikes. These spikes can be harnessed to power a load or recycle energy that would otherwise be wasted. So the significance of these negative spikes are that the negative spikes at the battery terminal are caused by the collapsing magnetic field, which creates a counter voltage. Okay, so the energy recovery mechanism, instead of dissipating energy as heat, a well-designed circuit captures and redirects back EMF. This function aligns with the principles of free energy devices rather than a simple amplifier. So this could indicate that our system is actually utilizing the back EMF efficiently. Now, let's move on to the practical guide to free energy devices and what it has to say about physical toggle switches. Because as you'll notice here, I'm pointing to the toggle switch that I have on the Jewel Thief, specifically for the prototypes I'm going to be sent out to the team. And that allows you to toggle between the open and closed circuit on this Lightning Thief device. So I have yet to test the open circuit method. I'm going to probably do that sometime tonight or tomorrow. And again, if you're members of the YouTube channel or you're paid subscribers for the Patreon, you'll get that early. So if you don't want to wait for those updates. But yes, I'll be testing the open circuit out tonight. But at any rate, the toggle switch is important because a physical toggle switch was emphasized in the Practical Guide to Free Energy Devices for a joule thief. And this is important to emphasize because a physical toggle switch can play a critical role in initiating and enhancing the performance of a joule thief circuit. By manually toggling the switch, you create a large initial spike or current surge, which helps jumpstart the back EMF process and optimize the system's tuning. So here's kind of a structured explanation based on my observations. So why a toggle switch enhances back EMF? So the initial back EMF surge, when the circuit is first switched on, the abrupt change in current flow generates a strong back EMF spike. This spike can be essential for kickstarting the system systems that rely on energy recovery, particularly if the circuit has been sitting idle or the battery has been disconnected. Now, this is important to remember because we're going to come back to this specific idea in a minute based on my recent observations of the system. So, observations and practical use. The measurement spikes in current are observed when toggling a switch, as seen during the experiments like the Christmas special, where I attached a small RGB Christmas tree to the lightning thief. Remember, I attached it and I measured the current while I was toggling on and off, and I noticed a huge spike of current. So that's important to note. That wasn't something that was just dismissible, right? That was important to note, that spike. System reinitializing. So after sitting idle, this is interesting. So after sitting idle, when I attach the primary load, so remember, I have now on this system, what I'm going to show you is the 0.6 watt LED load, just a small light bulb. And then I also attach a secondary load to the same power rail, and that's a 40 watt, the 40 watt LED panel that I've been using for a while. So what's interesting is after sitting idle, the secondary load, the 40 watt, doesn't power up until I actually toggle the switch on and off, right? So that's interesting. I'll toggle it on. It'll be off. I'll toggle it on. And the secondary load doesn't turn on at first. Then I'll turn it off and turn it back on, and it turns on. And it doesn't just turn on, though. It starts pulsing. It starts pulsing real slow. And then it gets faster and faster and faster and then stabilizes. It's really weird. So, and there's something else that happens is when you attach the 0.6 watt LED, as I noted before, it hums. But when you attach the secondary load and it's pulsing, as it's getting brighter during that pulse, the noise is getting louder in volume, the hum. So it's really, really interesting. And I want you guys to take note of that because that's what I'm going to be showing you tonight. So the behavior of the lightning thief device with a toggle switch. With the battery disconnected and the circuit idle, the secondary load might not power up immediately when the circuit is first connected, right? So the solution for this is the toggle switch. By toggling the switch on and off, it jumpstarts the circuit, enabling the secondary load to pulse and stabilize. And this is just what I've observed. So I'm trying to put, like a theory to my observations here. So I could be wrong, but I wanted to know what you guys had to say about this. And while I get set up and show you this interesting effect.
I mean, I think your approach is sound. I think that you're methodically arriving to the same conclusions that I would. So I think you're on track.
You getting a quarter wave out of it, Ben?
You said what, Nathan?
A quarter wave?
Quarter wave, what's that?
So take your sine wave, cut off the bottom half.
So
Like
I'll show you the oscilloscope. I'm not really sure. I'll show you the oscilloscope tonight in a few seconds when I hook up my camera. But yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm getting the negative spikes though on the positive terminal, which is interesting. But you know, the thing is, I really don't know what is going on with the system. I can only theorize, you know, I can only, you know, create a theory and try to understand. But at this point, I have honestly no idea if that's correct. I can only assume that by tuning the load here and hearing that noise coming from the light bulb, we've now shifted the resonance to the full system, and the load is resonating with the system more. You can hear it. I don't know. That's just my theory. But I'm assuming that this cap bank is going to be able to do the same thing, only easier, you know, flipping a switch instead of screwing on another light bulb of a different size, you know, a different power requirement or whatever. So, but it's really, really weird. I'm going to set the camera up in a minute to show you guys though, because I really wanted to see what you guys have to say about it, because it starts pulsing and then it stabilizes. It's really cool.
Ben, do you have an oscilloscope?
Yes, I do.
So if you just take your probe and place a little piece about 2-inch wire to kind of make a little mini antenna, and then dangling the probe, don't connect it or touch it to anything, but move that probe to the different spots of your circuit, and you'll be able to observe the waveforms.
Really?
And that'll give you insight.
Cool. Yes. Well, we can do that easily tonight. I'll do that in a second if you want. We only have about 15 minutes, I think, before the end of the show, right? Unless you wanted to go into overtime tonight, but it's only going to take me a few minutes to show you what I needed to show you.
Yeah, I'm game.
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Give me a minute and I'll hook up the camera.
So, oh man, you got to do a spark gap switch, and then you can capture the back EMF, and it would stop at the switch and not bleed back. So that's what we need to do. At least that's
Ian mentions Ian mentions that you have 2 connections to the cap bank. So you use one connection for your circuit and the other connection to add capacitors.
there you go.
Yeah, good tip.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you for that tip. I didn't realize you could do that. Neat.
Ian's a man.
Yeah, that's really cool of Ian to send us those. I love it. It's going to help out so much.
You know, now that I think about it, you're toggle switching the spike. So when you toggle switch the spike, you want to take the spike and direct it into the cap bank. And you want it to shoot one way out of the diode. That's what Mike Faraday was talking about when he says that spark gap switch. It goes one way. It's like a one-way diode into the cap bank, so it can't go back and play with your circuit.
Are you talking about like the flyback diode?
Just if he simply just took a diode on that switch and dumped that into a cap bank, he gets all that back EMF, so it won't go back to his negative.
He's storing it. It's not. Yeah.
It's going back into the system, and then it's messing with his negative. So if he can pull that out of the system and capture it, that's what he wants to do.
Makes sense. Hey everyone, too, if you guys have liked what you've seen, please like and subscribe. It helps out a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And also that includes your sister channels, Nathan. Sorry, Ben, I didn't call you a sister. Your brother channels, Beneficence And oh boy, Gerald's channel, I forget, he's got a long one, his title. Crypto, just all the guys here have great channels. I'd recommend them.
Yes, Beneficence TV, Old Man Builds, WP Enlightened for Truth, I think is Gerald's.
I can never remember that.
Crypto. Yeah, what's the full crypto name?
Crypto Alchemist.
Oh, Crypto Alchemist. Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to get this camera situated so you can see both of them.
Yes, yes.
Lights. I think that could be good.
So Nathan, I'm pretty interested in taking my broken coil now and putting it next to the working coil. So that just, oh my goodness, you got my interest.
Oh man, I hope it blows your mind and works out well.
Yeah, it's already blowing my mind. To be honest, I kept checking, is there a capacitor hidden somewhere? Why is there working no capacitor? Because usually it's a fault. Usually I don't get sparks and I find, oh, the capacitor is not working, doesn't have a lead. So I'm always cognizant to check my capacitor. This was totally opposite. It just wanted to be free.
Now, sometimes you got to go commando on it. It just works that way.
Yeah, commando capacitors. That's
right. Free Willy.
Oh, we got Faraday Research for Extraordinary Inventors. That's another channel.
That's
Thank
right.
you, Lilo.
Mike Faraday. Absolutely.
Oh, Coat Creative Studios. I want to give him a shout out. He wrote a song.
Dude, he's gonna give me nightmares with what he does.
That
poor plasma TV, he abuses that thing.
He wrote a song, I guess it was about you and me, Nathan, Lord of Plasma.
He wrote it about you, Shawnee. He did a great job too.
He did, but I thought we're both in it. You're in it.
Oh, I'm sure we're in it, but he wrote it for you.
Oh.
So this is the 0.6 watt LED.
Come on, Jarvis.
Hey, Jar Jar. You're late. We missed you.
And that's the 40 watt panel up there that's going to be pulsing.
Nathan is a sage. The old wise man. Even though I'm 10 years older than him. The young wise man. I'm very interested in your opinion, Jar Jar, about the cone. So if you can check it out sometime.
Okay, we're starting out at 12.69 volts on the battery. We're going to toggle it on now. Toggling it on. As you can see.
Look at his setup. It looks awesome.
It blinks on at first, but this isn't on. Okay, the secondary load is hooked up, but it's not on. Let's toggle it off again and toggle it back on. Oh, it came unplugged. Give me 1 second.
Uh-oh. Do you see that light bulb he's got going on in there?
Yeah, what is it?
Protection.
That was really cool looking.
Yeah, it's like a little planet or something.
Oh, there we go. Oh,
there
wow. It's not pulsing that much. You can kind of see it though.
Oh, the fluorescent. Mm-hmm. Is that your load?
So this is the primary, and then I have this as a secondary load.
Wow.
Hey, Ben, show us that light bulb again.
Yeah, close up.
Yeah, what's going on there? That looks awesome.
Yeah, so this is a 0.6 watt LED load. It's just a light bulb that kind of it's oscillating between the LEDs in it. It's really cool. So some of them are on and some of them are off at the same time. So they're blinking on and off.
That's interesting.
It's really cool.
I've never seen a light like that.
If you listen, oh my headphones are disconnecting. Damn it. If you listen, it's humming.
There's a question: is the light bulb acting like a capacitor?
Yes.
What's the wattage that's being asked?
So this one, the small one, is 0.6 watts.
Wow.
And then this big one is 40 watts.
Oh, wow. That's a lot. 40?
Yes. But because I flipped it on a couple of times and it came unplugged, it might have screwed up this pulsing. Usually when I have it off for a while, which it was and unplugged, this, when it switches on, it'll start pulsing and then kind of stabilize like it is now.
Yeah. Looks like a lightning bug. Jarvis shared.
Yeah, it's very cool. I love this bulb. And you can kind of here, I'll show you the Tesla style bulb that we want to put in to the do-it-yourself lamp that we're going to be releasing soon. Michelle's lamp that I've shown you previously. So we can just kind of unplug this. And that goes brighter, obviously, because more power is getting set to the secondary.
Oh, wow. Where do you get these cool light bulbs?
That's
Thrift
awesome.
shop.
The thrift store?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
man.
we want to put
I love it.
Yeah, it's so cool. We want to put something like this, like an old-fashioned steampunk style light bulb. But obviously it's going to be a lot brighter than this. This is not as bright as we need it to be. I'm hoping, though, that testing the open circuit will give us a little bit more back EMF and able to utilize that resonance a little bit more. So maybe we can get this lit up a little bit more with the open circuit and Ian's cap bank.
Hey, Ben, that light bulb right there with the long, skinny lights in it, was that a fluorescent light bulb or were those LEDs?
So that's a incandescent.
It's an incandescent?
Yeah, it's heating
Does it
up.
get really hot?
It will no, because it doesn't really get very bright. I'm not getting enough current to it, but I'm hoping that the open circuit, it might be able to get it lit up a little bit more. And we'll find out, you know, if it starts heating up real bad or if it stays relatively cool.
Yeah. That means you're not losing energy out of heat.
Right. But the cool thing is that the light bulb is actually humming now and not the circuit. I can hear it. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's pretty loud.
Do you want to try the O-scope probe and hold it at different parts to see what your waves look like?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's do that real quick. That's the last thing that I wanted to show you is the O-scope. Oh, and the current reading, too. We can do that. Let's read the current real quick with the amp clamp.
There you go.
So we got 163 milliamps coming out of the battery. And then coming out of the coil, we have 164. 163. So exactly the same. Exactly the same reading on the current from the battery to the output of the coil before it hits the Joule thief, which is interesting. So, and then where did I do those go? Oh, there it is. So I hooked up, Sean, I hooked up a little Arduino cable. I hope that's good enough for what you wanted to do with this O-scope regarding making it a probe.
Right. So you know how the O-scope probe has a negative little clip and then it has a pointy part?
Yes.
If you place a little piece of wire in the pointy part and then of course, it's plugged into your oscope, and the wire should just be 1 inch or 2. It shouldn't be that long, because you're going to start getting some weird waveforms. It's going to become sort of its own waveform changer.
Oh, this is way too long. I need to find a shorter wire.
Just a little snip, a little clip.
Yeah, I'm gonna trim it.
And of course, it should be touching metal to metal. So Ben, are all the coils in this circuit all of the rodents, or is that a secondary rodent on a primary rodent?
So they're actually ABHA coils, which is kind of like a branch or type of rodent coil. Yes, they're all ABHA coils, but only one of them is hooked up. And the only one that's hooked up, I'll show you, is the middle. I'm sorry, the middle one, which is the Mark 1. Here, I'll point it. This one is the only one that's hooked up, and it's hooked up to this lightning thief device, the Frankenstein-looking version over there with all the wires hanging out.
Okay.
So I can easily probe it. So let's see. Run. All right, let's see what we get.
So what does your girlfriend think about all the sounds and going on in your lab?
She usually wears her headphones, so
She's usually not bothered by it, fortunately. So I have the waveform on pause. I'm going to put it up to the screen. I put this up to the 1K ohm resistor that is hooked up to the base of the transistor before it gets to the coil. So it's between the basically between the coil and the circuit.
That's all on one side.
yeah, so it all appears to be the negative spikes here that I'm picking up from all the different components that I'm measuring. Because if you look at here, that's the base of the transistor again, another negative spike. Let's look at the collector and then the emitter. Okay, so the emitter's got the same kind of negative spike. I'm not getting anything from the collector. Oh, wait, no. That's weird. What the hell? Hold on. What the fuck?
John, you're too cool, man. You don't have to do that kind of stuff, man. You're awesome, brother.
Thank you. It's the least I can do for all your mentoring and help you've given me. So I appreciate all you do, man.
Right on. Thank you.
So
Hey,
look
Ben,
at this.
are you getting residual resonance from the other coil it's sitting on top of?
Maybe. You know, that's interesting. I would love to explore how to test for that, Nathan, because that it very well could be. I mean, just having that in proximity on top, yeah. We've seen the dual thief setup, you know, where we have two lightning thieves, just the pickup without being connected to the battery or anything, just sitting on top or below the primary coil that is hooked up to the battery and the primary dual thief, just having it pick up the wireless energy. It excites the neon like 120 volts, so it's picking up high voltage just by sitting on top of it using that method. I don't know. It is. I mean, whether it's utilizing it or not, it's doing something sitting on there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
And okay, so I'm sorry, what?
Well, as you're saying, your jewel thief, you're saturating the coil, and then you're quickly pulling it out, so it may pull a little more than you think it is.
Yeah, that's true. And also, so probing the devices, the components, I got a lot of negative spikes that look the same except for the collector. Okay, so the base, it goes base, emitter, and then collector. I'm sorry, the emitter. So the emitter, the middle one, is what put out this positive waveform. And that's the only positive that I've gotten. I'm gonna hook it up real quick to the negative side of the battery terminal, the negative battery terminal, and see if I get, you know, a positive spike on that side.
Were you picking anything up from your oscillators by dangling the probe or nothing?
Yeah, that's how I'm picking these up, but I have to touch the
see.
metal to metal up. Yeah.
I see. That's just where you're getting from the dangling probe. Can you show it again real quick?
Yeah, so this is the middle pin of the NPN transistor. So I believe that's the collector, base collector in the emitter. Yeah. So I believe that's the collector, and that's the only positive waveform that I've gotten so far.
Yeah, it's a positive pulse. It looks like it dips a little bit below zero though, or is it just the angle?
Well, see, that's the thing. This might not be entirely accurate on the amplitude, just because the probe here is, I have to hold it in.
Okay.
It's like the connection is weak. I have to fix it. So, yeah, messing with it, it gives you a more accurate, like this could be a lot higher.
Yeah, it looks like a amplitude modulation. It looks like a modulated signal because you have the sine wave. It's a positive pulse wave, and then you have all this frequency within each hump. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's sine waves within the sine waves, and I'm not a big radio guy, but probably a radio guy could point that out and go, oh, that's amplitude modulation or frequency modulation. It looks modulated. It just means two signals, one riding on the other.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If we have two signals, and I was thinking about this oscilloscope is kind of cheap. We might not be able to see it fully, you know, like on your oscilloscope. How you can kind of see two signals clearly. If we had something like that, I don't think we might not be able to see it fully. I don't know. It might be hard. I've had this thing. Yeah, I've had this thing when you have like no load hooked up and you're measuring the the neon lamp that's being excited 120 volts. This thing, it like starts getting so sluggish. There's so much voltage. Like the frame rate on this thing just dips to like 1.
They're saying in the chat, Jarvis and Joe both said could be a beat frequency.
Yeah, it has that, I think, too. I agree.
Yeah, it's really interesting. This is the only positive I've gotten so far. Everything else has the negative spike. I'm gonna try real quick to measure the negative terminal on the battery real quick. That's my final test.
So I noticed that there's you're not up wearing all your safety gear there, young man.
Oh boy. I got caught by OSHA, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, lab coat.
Yeah, I kind of got lazy tonight. I'm sorry. I promise I'll be on top of my game next time.
I still need the lab coat every time.
Oh, it's gonna be fun when everybody has one.
Yeah.
So look at this. No, look at this. Okay, so again, this is probably not accurate on the amplitude. It's probably a lot more, a lot higher. You know, like a lot more spikier.
Yeah.
But this is getting on the negative terminal on the battery. Again, a negative spike.
It's so interesting. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I wonder if you diagrammed just like a block diagram and then drew the signals in between each component that's connected in your system. Maybe give you some insight into what each piece of the system is doing. I don't mean to add to your work. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So it's, I wish I could show you guys that here. Let me try to show you guys this in real time. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the negative on the battery.
Wow. That's interesting.
Right?
Yeah, it is. I'm wondering if you maybe opened up the vertical or horizontal deflection and it would give you more or different condensed sort of wave pattern.
What is that, a setting on the oscilloscope?
Yeah, you know how you can move the horizontal line or the vertical line? Is that possible with yours?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think you can move it up or down.
I see. Yours is automatic. Yours is good.
Yeah.
It's automatic.
It's a good for the price. Honestly, it was really cheap.
Yeah, it's showing a pretty clear waveform. Just not the right amplitude. That's fine.
Well, actually, it is now because I'm holding it.
Oh, gotcha.
That's why I have it clamped. So I'm holding it, and I kind of zoomed out a little bit.
You got to open that thing up, Ben, and fix it.
Yeah. So I adjusted to 1 millisecond. I think, did it? Yeah, 1 ms.
I see. Yeah, that's how you're opening up or closing it up is the millisecond, microsecond.
Yeah, see? But that's it. It's just really interesting, you know. Again, with this coil and the lightning thief and everything about the system is very, I don't know, unique. You know, you can't read about this to understand it. You know what I mean? It's like all new territory.
Yeah, that's why I'd like to see you diagram at high level and then draw out the signals in between, because it's really fascinating how each piece has a certain role and how much output you're getting.
Yes. And I have a feeling that with the open circuit method combined with Ian's cap bank, which I am highly grateful for, will allow us to maximize that efficiency. Right now, though, it appears to be extremely efficient compared to a normal, you know, inverter.
Oh yeah, the cap bank's going to allow you to tune the resonant frequency to the picofarad. That's incredible. I need to redo all of my experiments with my coils with Ian's cap bank, because I've never been this close to resonance, and I honestly think that it's going to be a whole different show.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think the same with yours, Ben. I think when you, the closer you get to perfect resonance, if there's not such a thing, but close, you're going to see everything go off the charts.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool. I'm really excited to test with it. Again, if you guys want to see the results of that test with the cap bank and the open circuit method, I'll be releasing that for members of the YouTube channel and Patreon. For you guys support, I'll release that a little early. Here we have. Yep, there
Sounds
we go.
good, Ben. Jarvis says, very nice, good job. You're getting some just a, hey, great work. Ben is a beast. So thanks for sharing. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, and thank you for the super chat and everybody in the chat who has amazing contributed with their amazing comments and the emojis. Mr. Lanius, much appreciated with the emojis. We all know we love Nathan's emojis. My favorite one. Yeah, exactly. My favorite one is the mushroom. Personally, I think that's really nice, really classy. Oh, real quick, here is a concept art of the Lightning Thief box for, just imagining what this thing could look like at your local store.
Nice.
Very cool.